Hello, today I'll be presenting my topic, which is verbs. In this slide, you will see the definition of verbs, types of verbs, and also some practice section that I've provided. So let's start with the definition of a verb. A verb is a word that expresses an action, occurrence, or a state of being. Let's start with types of verb. So there are three types of verb, which are action verb, linking verb, and also auxiliary verb. Action verbs express an action that is performed by the subject. There are two types of action verb, which are physical and mental verb. So for physical verb, it describes an action that is performed by the subject. So we can physically see the action happen. It's easier for people to notice or differentiate if it's a physical or mental verb. Unlike a physical verb, mental verb, it expresses an internal action of the mind, such as thinking, feeling, and knowing. We cannot see the action happen or being performed by the subject, but it is still an action verb. As you guys can see, for the first sentence, the cat jumped onto the sofa, which that is a sentence for physical verb. There is a word jumped, which is an action that is performed by the cat. So the cat is the subject, which is the doer of the action. There is another example, which is she imagined a life with him. Verb imagine, we cannot physically see it. The subject is imagining, is doing an internal action in the mind. So now that we know what action verbs are, let's take a closer look. Some action verbs, they require an object to complete their meaning, while others don't need an object at all. So they are called transitive and intransitive verb. So now I'll be explaining briefly about transitive and intransitive verb. So for transitive verb, it requires a direct object like noun or pronoun that receives the action. It cannot just stop at the verb, because then it will be an incomplete sentence. Meanwhile, for intransitive verb, it does not require any direct object. However, other information might come after the verb, such as an adverb. So moving on to the next type of verb, which is linking verb. So linking verb, it does not describe an action, but linking verb, it connects the subject of the sentence to the information about that subject. It just connects the subject to the information of the verb. Linking verb is only linking subject to an adjective or noun that provides more information about that verbs. So as we can see from the example that I've provided here, the meal looks appetizing. He seems happier with his eggs. So now the meal is not doing the action of looking, right? The subject here is not doing anything, but we are the one who add the information about that subject. He seems happier with his eggs. Seems is not the verb that the subject is physically doing. It's just that we can identify it as a linking verb because the word seems is a verb that adds information about what the subject is doing. So for the last type of verb, which is auxiliary verb, these are the verbs that don't carry the main meaning of the sentence. Instead, they help the main verb show tense, voice, and also mood for the sentences. Also, it helps people to identify whether the sentence is positive or negative. The three main auxiliary verbs in English are be, have, and do. So we use them to form different tenses, to make questions, and to form negative sentences. So the first example here is the students are studying for the exam. In this sentence, are is the auxiliary verb and studying is the main verb. Auxiliary verbs are helps to show that the action is happening right now. So this structure forms the present continuous tense. So with the auxiliary verbs, people can identify the time frame of the action that is happening. So for the second example, she had visited France twice. The auxiliary verb is had and the main verb is visited. So the auxiliary verb helps form the past perfect tense, which shows the action happened before another past moment, even if the moment is not mentioned. So had visited tells us it was completed in the past. And for the last example, I do not understand the question. So in the sentence, do is the auxiliary verb. It does not show an action. Instead, it helps form the negative structure. So without the auxiliary verb do, we cannot make the sentence negative. So now that we know the three types of verb, let's see the irregular and regular verb. So for regular verb is a verb that form their past tense and past participle by simply adding ed or d to the base form. Meanwhile, irregular verb, their past and participle forms change in unpredictable ways. There are various ways for the base form to change. Unlike regular verb, it is certain that their past participle form will always be either ed or d. So let's see some of the examples that I've provided here. So for the regular verb, you guys can see that the base form is talk and the past tense is talked and the past participle is also talked. Regular verb just simply add ed to the base form. So for the irregular verb, the base form is write, the past tense is wrote, and the past participle is written. Past tense change the write to wrote, we change the I to O, and for the past participle, it changes the wrote to written, which adds ten to the base form. So that's why it is called irregular verb, because irregular verbs cannot be easily predicted. So to practice more for the irregular verb, since it is changed in unpredictable ways, there's nothing you can do except for read more. Read like article, books, magazine to have more vocabulary of irregular verb. So now that I have explained about verbs, let's do some practice for the in the practice section that I have provided. So for the first question, what type of verbs is in these sentences? So can you guys identify what type of verb is in the first sentence, which is the children are enjoying the chocolates? The clue here is are enjoying. Can you guys guess? And if you guys have guessed, don't forget to check your answer in the last slide here, which I have prepared a QR code. Also, if you guys want to be a little bit adventurous, I have provided a word search here, so you guys can search for the answers while being adventurous. So that's all for me. Thank you.